Why is the world facing its worst power crisis in decades this summer? Parts of South Asia, home to 1 billion people, are already facing daily power outages lasting hours.
Grids across the U.S. are warning of blackouts this summer, and Europe's power situation rests uneasily under the sword of Damocles that is Russia's threat to cut off gas supply to the continent.
So why is power supply suddenly in such a crisis? The reasons come back to 3 things: climate change, the pandemic, and war.
The change in climate is increasing the frequency of extreme weather events, like heat waves that are scorching India and Pakistan and driving up power demand for air conditioners, as well as droughts that are leaving reservoirs depleted in places dependent on hydropower, like California. The rebound from the pandemic has also driven increased power use after 2 years of lockdowns, resulting in a rise in fuel prices that began late last year. Russia's invasion of Ukraine supercharged that energy inflation. Coal is trading at record levels right now. European gas is triple its level from a year ago, and oil is back to $100 a barrel. That's made it difficult for poor countries like Sri Lanka and Myanmar to import fuel needed to keep the lights on. Even in richer nations that can't afford to pay, it's hurting consumers.
But it doesn't stop there. This summer may just be a preview of things to come.
Net zero goals and expensive fuel are spurring countries to build more cheap solar and wind power, which is certainly a shift necessary to avoid the worst impacts of climate change. But investments have lagged in power grids and energy storage needed to translate intermittent energy into around-the-clock electricity.
So until that kind of infrastructure catches up, just flipping on the light switch may become something the world has to stop taking for granted.
Well, as the weather warms up, so does the demand for electricity.
That's right.
Yeah, a new report, I should say, shows supply, though, may not be able to meet demand, and that could lead to blackouts.
We want to bring in 4229's Robert, sir. He's joining us now with more in tonight's Forecasting Our Future. Hi, Robert.
Hi, Paige. Good evening to you. Now, the Mid-Continent System Operator, or MISO, which transmits power to about 15 Midwestern states, including a good portion of Arkansas, says they are preparing for a, quote, possible worst-case scenario this summer because there's a chance that there's just not enough electricity to go around. We're entering the peak time of the year for energy consumption, summer. And you're not the only one sweating from the heat. Your electric provider is also sweating. NOAA's Climate Prediction Center is calling for above-average summer temperatures, and a sobering report from the North American Electric Reliability Corporation, a nonprofit group that monitors grid stability, says peak electric demand this summer could outpace output from providers, meaning blackouts are possible for large parts of the country west of the Mississippi. You can see parts of Arkansas in the high-risk area highlighted by the corporation.
Where there's an elevated risk under these extreme conditions, we believe that there's a pretty significant challenge to be able to meet that electricity demand. In a high-risk area, even under normal conditions, a normal summer day or normal summer heat, the system is stressed, and we are concerned that they would not be able to meet the demand requirements.
The report shows a potential perfect storm that could lead to blackouts. Climate change is the leading factor, as well as coal plants that can't keep up, the western drought impacting output from hydroelectric dams, inefficient solar plants, and damaged key transmission lines. Thankfully, here in northwest Arkansas and the River Valley,